So let's hit the go live on YouTube button. Hello, YouTube. Please don't ban me. We're going to be reading a book today, and we are going to, I believe, start over on Wuthering Heights, because I just did not feel like last week was my best reading week. So we're going to try that again. No harm, no foul. And let's see if anybody can go to YouTube chat and help me out by sending messages in chat so that we can make sure everything is working properly. Let's see, reload, select live sources, auto find and activate, press this button, already on it. Okay, yes, I see. Duke Boss says I'm here, and Kurt, yay, I made it to stream. Welcome to stream. Okay, cool. So we've got those working. The next beast to tame is going to be TikTok chat. TikTok chat, you cannot do certain things unless you are live. So let me double check that everything is as it should be. And I must tell it to listen to this specific microphone. And I hit go live. Now it is, what are we doing? I am just getting through some technical difficulties before we begin reading. So that we can make sure our audience has the best viewing experience. Okay, auto, and then connect. All right, is it gonna connect? Connection failed. Connected. Okay, so TikTok WebSocket did not work, but it said it works for polling. B-Dogs is in TikTok chat, and TikTok chat works. Can we get a hoorah? Yippee! Okay. Hello, my beautiful fishies, and welcome to another story time. I'm excited to read to you some Wuthering Heights by Emily Bront. I hope that you've been well since last week. I hope that you are hydrated and well rested. And if you are not, that is okay. We can at least start today. So, get your blankie, or a very lightweight blankie if you're in the UK. Get your air conditioner, and snuggle up for some reading. Put a 1 in chat, no matter which chat you're in, to let me know you are ready to begin reading. Oh, my stomach's already talking. Nuke Boss is ready, Jap is ready, Cadmium is ready, Khalil is ready, Kurt is ready, Apoc is ready. Working still? That's okay. You can just have me in the background and I will happily yap your ear away. Thank you for the posture check. Hello, Magnus. Hello, Vulcan. Hello, Adam. That's a lot of points. Whew. Thank you for another hydrate redeem. Let's switch to the reading. And I am going to hit start on the next puzzle, okay? Next up is a beautiful landscape. Names from Warhammer. Alright, if you are not already familiar with me and how I do my live streams, hello, my name is Steph. I read books and stories on stream, and today we are starting Wuthering Heights by Emily Bront. Wow. And if you are interested in solving a puzzle while I read to you, the puzzle is a bit available in my Beacons link, or if you say puzzle on the Purple app. New model? Nope. Just a customizable model. This is, yeah, it's just a customizable model. Bronte. I believe it. I believe it. Should I say it correctly? Bronte. Wuthering Heights. I get the giggles whenever I get close to the mic. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Ho ho. Hi, librarian. Would you happen to know whether it's Emily Bront or Bronte? Because I don't know. The other thing after last week's stream of reading this book, I was not satisfied with the whole accent situation, so it's quite likely that I may not continue the accent this time around. I did a really good job for Jane Eyre, I believe. But we will resume anyhow. Itchy, 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 itchy. Your voice really matches your model would be a good, I don't know what that is, but if my voice matches my model, that is absolutely perfect. I worked hard on that. Book name, Wuthering Heights. You have very expressive eyes. Thank you. All the more to look at you guys with. Read as I wish, indubitably. Alright. If you are also not already aware, to our newcomers, I record as I read. I am making and editing these into an audiobook available on the YouTube channel. So if you'd like more of my work, or if you want to go back and watch previous live streams, that is the best place to do so. Without furthering ado, I'm gonna read. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Chapter 1, 1801. I have just returned from a visit to my landlord, the solitary neighbor that I shall be troubled with. This is certainly a beautiful country. In all England, I do not believe that I could have fixed on a situation so completely removed from the stir of society. A perfect misanthropist's heaven, and Mr. Heathcliff and I are such a suitable Macarena. And Mr. Heathcliff and I are such a suitable pair to divide the desolation between us. A capital fellow. La 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 la. Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of like mouth clicks, and that bugs me. We're just getting in our game. Jap, thank you so much for the gift shop. Thank you. Thank you. I was waiting for the sound. I can literally hear it when the water hits my stomach. Yep, there we go. Okay. And Mr. Heathcliff and I are such a suitable pair to divide the desolation between us. A capital fellow. He little imagined how my heart warmed towards him when I beheld his black eyes withdraw so suspiciously under their brows, as I rode up, and when his fingers sheltered themselves with a jealous resolution still further in his waistcoat as I announced my name. Mr. Heathcliff, I said. A nod was the answer. Mr. Lockwood, your new tenant, sir. I do myself the honor of calling as soon as possible after my arrival, to express the hope that I have not inconvenienced you by my perseverance in soliciting the occupation of Thrushcross Grange. I heard yesterday that you had had some thoughts. Thrushcross Grange is my own, sir, he interrupted, wincing. I should not allow anyone to inconvenience me, if I should hinder it. Walk in. The walk in was uttered with closed teeth, and expressed the sentiment, go to the deuce. Even the gate over which he leant manifested no sympathizing movement to the words. And I think that circumstance determined me to accept the invitation. I felt interested in a man who seemed more exaggeratedly reserved than myself. When he saw my horse's breast fairly pushing the barrier, he did put out his hand to unchain it, and then sullenly preceded me up the causeway, calling, as we entered the court, Joseph, take Mr. Lockwood's horse and bring up some wine. Here we have the whole establishment of domestics, I suppose, was the reflection suggested by this compound order. No wonder the grass grows up between the flags and the cattle are only hedge cutters. Gotta say that again. Hello, Lumibuns. Hello, my sweetums. Welcome. Welcome, Raiders. Lumi, how was your stream? How are you today? What did you do? Did you have fun? Thank you so much for bringing your community. Thank you so much for the raid. Let me see if I gotta double check. Is there... Okay. I just gotta make sure that all of the pages are working. Jap, thank you so much for gifting us up to Lumi. Your avatar is so pretty. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome to all of our new fishies. My name is Steph. I read books and stories on stream, and today I am beginning Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. It's a goodie, a classic, and here, if you want to stay relaxed and calm, you can solve a puzzle, you can listen along while you work in the background, or you could fall asleep, get all cozy wrapped up in your blankie, or if, you're in a place where it's really hot, maybe cuddle the air conditioner, I guess, a box fan, maybe. But I hope that I can help you fall asleep quite comfortably. I think that my chat window may be having some issues. So give me 1 second while I figure out what's going on. because we don't like having tech issues. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can for you. But welcome, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Oh, it's the, oh my god, it's the bot. It's the bot doing it? I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna fix that. There we go. We're gonna kick bot. We're gonna kick the bot. The bot knew what? I think the bot got Lumi. I'm so sorry, Lumi. How do I bring you back? Where's my mods? Oh no. Hold on, I'm trying to do... I don't have a keyboard. Let's see, where is this? Slash... Oh dear heavens. Untime. You don't have a keyboard? No, not in my current room. I stream from a closet. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I can't believe that happened. I was really confused why the chat wasn't moving. I gotta do a hydrate. We as chat would be allowed a little bit of customization. I have to put time into learning how to do that, and I can't do that yet. But Lumi, I'm so sorry about the bot. I'm so sorry. Let's see, do I have my mods? Mods. Let's see. Moderator. Okay. Okay, Lumi should be alive now. I'm so sorry about that. Alright, apologies for the technical issues. We are reading Wuthering Heights. We are still in the beginning of the chapter, and we have just arrived to the estate of Mr. Heathcliff at Thrushcross Grange. So, John, I do not have a keyboard. I am streaming from a closet because that's what gives the best audio quality. Welcome back from the dead. I'm sorry. I'm not the kind to kill. I am not a murderer. Hi, Pro Self Love. Did stream crash for anybody? It looks good to me. I've got all of my bits. I've got all of my bit rate. My bits and bobs are all where they should be. You guys are scaring me, making me think that, like, the stream's broken. Okay, back to the rating. Thank you, John, thank you. Peak ASMR in a closet. Slay. The walk-in was uttered with closed teeth, and expressed the sentiment, "Go to the deuce." Even the gate over which he leant manifested no sympathizing movement to the words. I think that circumstance determined me to accept the invitation. I felt interested in a man who seemed more exaggeratedly reserved than myself. When he saw my horse's breast fairly pushing the barrier, he did pull out his hand to unchain it, and then sullenly preceded me up the causeway, calling, as we entered the court, "Joseph, take Mr. Lockwood's horse and bring up some wine. Oh, sorry, I almost missed it. Ara ara. That wasn't my best one. You know what? I can do that again. Ara ara. Okay, yeah, I like that one. You got the double auras. I will see your siren singing ASMR is the best. You know, honestly, I don't really think I see anybody doing, essentially vocalizing ASMR. Maybe I can do that. Here we have the whole establishment of domestics, I suppose, was the reflection suggested by this compound order. No wonder the grass grows up between the flags, and cattle are the only hedge cutters. Joseph was an elderly, nay, an old, very old, perhaps, though hale and sinewy. "The Lord help us," he soliloquied in an undertone of peevish displeasure, while relieving me of my horse, looking, meantime, in my face so sourly that I charitably conjectured he must have need of divine aid to digest his dinner, and his pious ejaculation had no reference to my unexpected advent. Wuthering Heights is the name of Mr. Heathcliff's dwelling, Wuthering being a significant provincial adjective descriptive of the atmospheric tumult to which its station is exposed to stormy weather. Pure, bracing ventilation they must have up there at all times indeed. One may guess the power of the north wind blowing over the edge by the excessive slant of a few stunted firs at the end of the house, and by a range of gaunt thorns all stretching their limbs one way, as if carving the elms of the sun. Happily, the architect had foresight It's okay. When we get nervous, we just breathe. We just take a deep breath. Right? Just deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Yeah. Happily, the architect had foresight to build it strong. The narrow windows are deeply set in the wall, and the corners defended with large jutting stones. Before passing the threshold, I paused to admire a quantity of grotesque carving lavished over the front, and especially about the principal door, above which, among a wilderness of crumbling griffins and shameless little boys, I detected the date 1500 and the name Catherine Earnshaw. I would have made a few comments and requested a short history of the place from the surly owner, but his attitude at the door appeared to demand my speedy entrance, or complete departure, and I had no desire to aggravate his impatience previous to inspecting the penetralium. One step brought us into the family sitting room without any introductory lobby or passage. Without any introductory lobby or passage, they call it here the house, preeminently. It includes kitchen and parlor, generally. But I believe at Wuthering Heights the kitchen is forced to retreat altogether into another quarter. At least I distinguished a chatter of tongues and a clatter of culinary utensils deep within. And I observed no signs of roasting, boiling, or baking about the huge fireplace, nor any glitter of copper saucepans and tin colanders on the walls. One end, indeed, reflected splendidly both light and heat from ranks of immense pewter dishes, interspersed with silver jugs and tankards, towering row after row on a vast oak dresser to the very roof. The latter had never been underdrawn. Its entire anatomy lay bare to an inquiring eye, except where a frame of wood laden with oatcakes and clusters of legs of beef, ham, except where a frame of wood laden with oatcakes and clusters of legs of beef, mutton, and ham concealed it. Above the chimney were sundry villainous... Stomach, can you not do this right now? Above the chimney were sundry villainous old guns and a couple of horse pistols, and, by way of ornament, three gaudily painted canisters disposed along its ledge. The floor was of smooth white stone, the chairs, high-backed, primitive structures, painted green, one or two heavy black ones lurking in the shade. In an arch under the dresser reposed a huge, liver-colored bitch pointer, surrounded by a swarm of squealing puppies, and other dogs haunted other recesses. The apartment and furniture would have been nothing extraordinary as... I should make a blooper reel of all the sounds my stomach makes. Hi, Beans. ASMR Mans, thank you so much for resubscribing with your Prime. Thank you. The apartment and furniture would have been nothing extraordinary as belonging to a homely... northern farmer, with a stubborn countenance and stalwart limbs set out to advantage in knee breeches and gaiters. Such an individual seated in his armchair, his mug of ale frothing on the round table before him, is to be seen in any circuit of 5 or 6 miles among these hills, if you go at the right time after dinner. But Mr. Heathcliff forms a singular contrast to his abode and style of living. He is a dark-skinned gypsy in aspect, in dress and manners a gentleman, that is, as much a gentleman as many a country squire. Rather slovenly, perhaps, yet not looking amiss with his negligence, because he has an erect and handsome figure, and rather morose. Possibly, some people might suspect him of a degree of underbred pride. I have a sympathetic chord within that tells me it is nothing of the sort. I know, by instinct, his reserve springs from an aversion. Nope. I know, by instinct, his reserve springs from an aversion to showy displays of feeling, to manifestations of mutual kindliness. He'll love and hate equally under cover, and esteem it a species of impertinence to be loved or hated again. No, I'm running on too fast. I bestow my own attributes over liberally on him. Mr. Heathcliff may have entirely dissimilar reasons. Anxiety. Mr. High Anxiety. Mr. High Anxiety. Thank you so much for 54 months. 7. I can't read. 57 months. Thank you. Huge hype in chat. Was hoping to hit you with some fish. Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the throw button? Where's the throw button? Throw and fish. And then I can just here we go. Yeah, just like this. Bonk. And then hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. I did it. I did it. Here, even better. Nope, not that way. We'll get it right. Yeah. Random body part. Smack, 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 smack. There we go. There we go. I had to. It's 57 months. I had to stop reading. That's 57 months. That's insane. That's a lot. PogChamp. Yeah, my model changed. Yes, that was a lot of headshots. Thank you, Anxiety. I resume reading now. I should pop my neck in my back. My neck, my back. I had to wait for my stomach to make the stomach noises. Mr. Heathcliff may have entirely dissimilar reasons for keeping his hand out of the way when he meets a would-be acquaintance, to those who actuate me. Let me hope my constitution is almost peculiar. My dear mother used to say I should never have a comfortable home, and only last summer I proved myself perfectly unworthy of one. While enjoying a month of fine weather at the seacoast, I was thrown into the company of a most fascinating creature, a real goddess in my eyes, as long as she took no notice of me. I never told my love vocally. Still, if looks have language, the merest idiot might have guessed I was over head and... I never told my love vocally. Still, if looks have language, the merest idiot might have guessed. Where are these mistakes coming from? That's crazy. The merest idiot might have guessed I was over head and... The merest idiot might have guessed I was over head and ears. She understood me at last, and looked a return, the sweetest of all imaginable looks. And what did I do? I confess it with shame, shrunk icily into myself, like a snail. At every glance retired colder and farther, till finally the poor innocent was led to doubt her own senses, and, overwhelmed with confusion at her supposed mistake, persuaded her mamma to decamp. By this curious turn of disposition I have gained the reputation of deliberate heartlessness. How undeserved, I alone can appreciate. I took a seat at the end of the hearthstone opposite that towards which my landlord advanced, and filled up an interval of silence by attempting to caress the canine mother, who had left her nursery, and was sneaking wolfishly to the back of my legs, her lip curled up, and her white teeth watering for a snatch. My caress provoked a long guttural gnarl. "You'd better let that dog alone. You'd better let the dog alone," growled Mr. Heathcliff in unison, checking fiercer demonstrations with a punch of his foot. "She's not accustomed to be spoiled. Not kept for a pet." Then, striding to his side door, he shouted again, "Joseph!" Joseph mumbled indistinctly in the depths of the cellar, but gave no intimation of ascending. So his master dived down to him, leaving me vis-a-vis. I thought it was vis-a-vis. I don't remember. I forgot. Hi, Tars. Leaving me vis-a-vis the ruffian bitch and a pair of grim, shaggy sheep. Guys, I don't know if I can read this book. I don't know. I might have, like, I think I'm too dumb for this book. So, his master dived down to him, leaving me vis-a-vis the ruffianly bitch, and a pair of grim, shaggy sheepdogs, who shared with her a jealous guardianship over all my movements. Not anxious to come in contact with her fangs, I sat still, but, imagining they would scarcely understand scarcely understand tacit insults, I unfortunately indulged in wrinkling. We push onwards. We'll take it slow. We'll get into a rhythm. If my body can stop making so many noises, that'd be cool. Yeah, this entire book is just one big tongue twister. I unfortunately indulged in winking and making faces at the trio, and some turn of my physiognomy so irritated Madam that she suddenly broke into a fury and leapt on my knees. I flung her back and hastened to interpose the table between us. This proceeding aroused the whole hive. Half a dozen four-footed fiends of various sizes and ages issued from hidden dems. Dems? That's not the word. Hi, Mike. Thank you, Tars. This proceeding aroused the whole hive. Half a dozen four-footed fiends of various sizes and ages issued from hidden dens to the common center. I felt my heels and coat laps peculiar subjects of assault, and parrying off the larger combatants as effectually as I could with the poker, I was constrained to demand, aloud, assistance from some of the household in re-establishing peace. Mr. Heathcliff and his man climbed the cellar steps with vexatious phlegm. I don't think they moved 1 second faster than usual, though the hearth was an absolute tempest of worrying and yelping. Happily, an inhabitant of the kitchen made more dispatch, a lusty dame with tucked up gown, bare arms, fire-flushed cheeks. A lusty dame with tucked-up gown, bare arms, and fire-flushed cheeks rushed into the midst of us flourishing a frying pan, and used that weapon, and her tongue, to such purpose that the storm subsided magically, and she only remained heaving like a sea after a high wind, when her master entered the scene. "What the devil is the matter?" he asked, eyeing me in a manner that I could ill endure after this inhospitable treatment. "What the devil, indeed?" I muttered. "The herd of possessed swine could have had no worse spirits in them than those animals of yours, sir. You might as well leave a stranger with a brood of tigers." "They won't meddle with persons who touch nothing," he remarked, putting the bottle before me and restoring the displaced table. "The dogs do right to be vigilant. Take a glass of wine?" "No, thank you." "Not bitten, are you?" "If I had been, I would have set my signet on the biter." "I would have set my signet on the biter." Heathcliff's countenance relaxed into a grin. Come, he said. "You're flurried, Mr. Lockwood. Here, take a little wine. Guests are so exceedingly rare in this house that I and my dogs, I am willing to own, hardly know how to receive them. Your health, sir." I bowed and returned the pledge, beginning to perceive that it would be foolish to sit sulking for the misbehavior of a pack of curs. Besides, I felt loth to yield the fellow further amusement at my expense, since his humor took that turn. He, probably swayed by the prudential consideration of the folly of offending a good tenant, relaxed a little in the laconic style of chipping off his pronouns and auxiliary verbs, and introduced what he supposed would be a subject of interest to me, a discourse on the advantages and disadvantages of my present place of retirement. I found him very intelligent on the topics we touched, and before I went home, I was encouraged so far as to volunteer another visit tomorrow. He evidently wished no repetition of my intrusion. I shall go notwithstanding. It is astonishing how sociable I feel myself compared to him. Wow, that was a long first chapter, guys. I almost can't believe it. I don't think fries were a staple of the English diet. Sorry, I'm messing with my my silly little cup. No worries, Nick Boss. I hope you fall asleep soon. And I hope that you have restful sleeps. Restful slumber. Hi, Father Slice. Dova ASMR Man's Father Slice, congratulations on doing the puzzle, and the 2 other people that were doing the puzzle. It is unknown. Raspberry electrolytes. Today, I think what I have right now is cherry. That was a joke. Oh yeah. I hadn't read all of chat to catch up, so I was behind. Put a 1 in chat if you are ready to begin the next chapter. Put a 2 in chat if you are asleep. Big deep breath. And let it out. Deep breath in. And let it out. Yeah. Yeah. Chapter 2. Yesterday afternoon. Off to a great start. Chapter 2. Yesterday afternoon set in misty and cold. Yesterday afternoon set in misty and cold. I had half a mind to spend it by my study fire, instead of wading through heath and mud to Wuthering Heights. On coming up from dinner, however... Oh, dang it, There's this stupid thing that I don't know. Nota bene, I dine between 12 and 1 o'clock. The housekeeper, a matronly lady, taken as a fixture along with the house, could not, or would not, comprehend my request that I might be served at 5. On mounting the stairs with this lazy intention, and stepping into the room, I saw a servant girl on her knees, surrounded by brushes and coal scuttles. and raising an infernal dust as she extinguished the flames with heaps of cinders. This spectacle drove me back immediately. I took my hat, and, after a 4 miles walk, arrived at Heathcliff's garden gate just in time to escape the first feathery flakes of a snow shower. On that bleak hilltop, the earth was hard with a black frost, and the air made me shiver through every limb. Being unable to remove the chain, I jumped over and, running up the flagged causeway, bordered with straggling gooseberry bushes, knocked vainly for admittance, till my knuckles tingled and the dogs howled. "Wretched inmates," I ejaculated mentally. "You deserve perpetual isolation for your species." No. You deserve perpetual isolation from your species for your churlish. If I were a worm, I would be smart. But I'm not a worm. I'm an anime girl. "Wretched inmates," I ejaculated mentally. "You deserve perpetual isolation from your species for your churlish inhospitality. At least, I would not keep my doors barred in the daytime. I don't care. I will get in." So resolved, I grasped the latch and shook it vehemently. Vinegar-faced Joseph projected his head from a round window of the barn. "What are you for?" he shouted. "T' meester's down i' t' fold. Go round by t' end o' t' lath, if you were to spake to him." "Is there nobody inside the open door?" "Is there nobody inside to open the door?" I hallooed, responsively. "There's nubbut to missus, and she'll not open to ye. And she'll not open ten. Ye mak her flesome dins till neat." "Why? Cannot you tell her who I am? Joseph? Cannot you tell her whom I am? Joseph?" "No, na me. I'll hae no hand with it. I'll hae no hand with," muttered the head, vanishing. The snow began to drive thickly. I seized the handle to essay another trial, when a young man without coat and shouldering a pitchfork appeared in the yard behind. He hailed me to follow him, and, after marching through a wash house and a paved area containing a coal shed, pump, and pigeon... Stomach, stop it. A coal shed, pump, and pigeon cot, we at length arrived in the huge, warm, cheerful apartment where I was formerly received. It glowed delightfully in the radiance of an immense fire, compounded of coal, peat, and wood. And near the table, laid for a plentiful evening meal, I was pleased to observe the Missus, an individual whose existence I had never previously suspected. I bowed and waited, thinking she would bid me take a seat. She looked at me, leaning back in her chair, and remained motionless and mute. "Rough weather," I remarked. "I'm afraid, Mrs. Heathcliff, the door must bear the consequence of your servant's leisure attendance. I had hard work to make them hear me. She never opened her mouth. I stared. She stared also. At any rate, she kept her eyes on me in a cool, regardless manner, exceedingly embarrassing and disagreeable. "Sit down," said the young man gruffly. "He'll be in soon." I obeyed, and hemmed, and called the villain Juno, who deigned at this second interview to move the extreme tip of her tail in token of owning my acquaintance. "A beautiful animal," I commenced again. "Do you intend parting with the little ones, madam?" "They are not mine," said the amiable hostess, more repellingly than Heathcliff himself. More repellingly than Heathcliff himself could have replied. "Ah, your favorites are among these," I continued, turning an obscure cushion full of something like cats. "A strange choice of favorites," she observed scornfully. Unluckily, it was a heap of dead rabbits. I hemmed once more, and drew closer to the hearth, repeating my comment on the wildness of the evening. "You should not have come out," she said, rising and reaching from the chimney-piece 2 of the painted canisters. Her position before was sheltered from the light. Now, I had a distinct view of her whole figure and countenance. She was slender, and apparently scarcely past girlhood, an admirable form, and the most exquisite little face that I have ever had the pleasure of beholding. Small features, very fair, flaxen ringlets, or rather, golden, hanging loose on her delicate neck. And eyes, had they been agreeable in expression, that would have been irresistible. Fortunately for my susceptible heart, the only sentiment they evinced, Hi Mia, hi Rostar, hi Lightning, hi Rain, hi Deco, hi Chaos, hi Solo. Rostar, thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm making a lot of mistakes, but I am trudging forward. I can do this. I think I can. 'The little engine who could. That's me. But I'm not little. I'm tall. Five 7. Fortunately for my susceptible heart, the only sentiment they evinced hovered between scorn and a kind of desperation, singularly unnatural to be detected there. The canisters were almost out of her reach. I made a motion to aid her. She turned upon me as a miser might turn if one attempted to assist him in counting his gold. "I don't want your help," she snapped. "I can get them myself. I can get them for myself." "I beg your pardon," I hastened to reply. "Were you asked to tea?" she demanded, tying an apron over her neat black frock, and standing with a spoonful of the leaf poised over the pot. "I shall be glad to have a cup," I answered. "Were you asked?" she repeated. "No," I said, half smiling. "You are the proper person to ask me." She flung the tea back, spoon and all, and resumed her chair in a pet. Her forehead corrugated, and her red underlip pushed out like a child's ready to cry. Meanwhile, the young man had slung onto his person a decidedly shabby upper garment, and, erecting himself before the blaze, looked down on me from the corner of his eyes, for all the world as if there were some mortal feud, for all the world as if there were some mortal feud unavenged between us. I began to doubt whether he were a servant or not. His dress and speech were both rude, entirely devoid of the superiority observable in Mr. and Mrs. Heathcliff. His thick brown curls were rough and uncultivated. His whiskers encroached bearishly over his cheeks, and his hands were embrowned like those of a common laborer. Still, his bearing was free, almost haughty, and he showed none of a domestic's assiduity in attending on a lady of the house. In the absence of clear proofs of his condition, I deemed it best to abstain from noticing his curious conduct, and 5 minutes afterwards, the entrance of Heathcliff relieved me, in some measure, from my uncomfortable state. "You see, sir, I come..." "Bah! Bah! I became sheep. I became a sheep. Bah!" I wish my body would stop making so many noises. Please, stomach. Please. I'm not kidding. I really am going to have a whole compilation of just stomach sounds. You know what? Maybe that'll be one of the secret YouTube videos that people unlock. I'm not even hungry. I'm digesting. My body does not function like your average, healthy body does. My body, albeit yes, I am healthy, my body does not function entirely properly. So I guess that means that I'm not perfectly healthy. However the hell you want to think about it. My body's a little strange, a little funky. It's got some quirks to it. So my digestive system is just very unhappy. We will act like we can't hear it. Bless Jap. It's actually really embarrassing for me. And it's plagued my life, literally going all the way back to like primary school, where I would be in choir and I would be so hungry prior to lunch that when we would do our singing warm-ups or when we were practicing a song, I would take a nice big deep breath in, and then the like surrounding people would hear like the sounds of my gut gurgling from, my open mouth, which is poised to sing. And I wouldn't even be saved if it was choir after lunch, because then the gurgles would just be different gurgles, and it would be the sounds of my digestive system digesting. And I apologize if someone who is listening thinks that is gross. I'm not judging you, but I encourage you to think of bodily functions as not gross, because it's normal, and we literally can't control it. But at the time, I was so embarrassed. And it's hard. It's so silly it's silly of me to be embarrassed about it now, but if anything, my stomach making noises when I'm recording and I'm reading is actually frustrating more than embarrassing, because that means I have to pause and I have to redo that sentence. Like, if I read that sentence and my stomach went blah, 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 you can hear that in the recording. Now I have to go back and I have to re-record that, but without You know? Hi, red apple juice. All right. Salute. We can do this. You see, sir, I am come according to promise, I exclaimed, assuming the cheerful. And I fear I shall be weather-bound for half an hour, if you could afford me shelter during that space. Half an hour, he said, shaking the white flakes from his clothes. I wonder you should select the thick of a snowstorm to ramble about in. Do you know that you run a risk of being lost in the marshes? People familiar with these moors often miss their road on such evenings, and I can tell you there is no chance of a change at present. Perhaps I can get a guide among your lads, and he might stay at the Grange till morning. Could you spare me one? No, I could not. Oh, indeed. Well, then I must trust my own sagacity. Are you going to muck the tea? Are you going to muck the tea? Demanded he of the shabby coat, shifting his ferocious gaze from me to the young lady. Is he to have any? She asked, appealing to Heathcliff. Get it ready, will you? Was the answer, uttered so savagely that I started. What the fuck, Richard? My tummy. Can I find you on any podcast platform? I think you're the second person to ever ask me that. What podcast platform? Like, what places do people go for podcasts? Other than Spotify and Apple Music, I guess? Are there other places for podcasts? Oh yeah, we can just say that they're butterflies in my stomach and not, digestion. iHeartRadio. Oh. YouTube. Well, hey, you can find me on YouTube. So, do I have a podcast? No. I don't know if maybe I should. I don't know what I would talk about. But no, I don't have a podcast right now. But if you'd like to listen to any of my previous live streams of my readings, all of those videos are on YouTube under the Live tab. And I do also have fully edited audiobooks or ASMR roleplay scripts on YouTube to enjoy as well. And yes, Khalil, you are absolutely correct. We just recently hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you to everyone who's subscribed on YouTube. Thank you. I really can't wait until we can get to 5,000 and then just imagine the day we get 10,000. I know that it's happening. I just have to get there. What I do is very much a quite small niche. Not only are we doing and creating our own audiobooks and hosting them on YouTube, but I am also a VTuber, and that puts me in two different niches. So when you combine them, this is a very small niche. So for anyone to be here, I am so grateful. checking posture. If I had a podcast, what would you want that podcast to be? Would it just be reading of the encyclopedia? Would you like... Hello? Stomach? You guys can't tell me you can't hear this. You know what? Maybe I will have a YouTube video that is just my stomach making noise. Words with Steph and I read the dictionary from start to end. I think we've got an idea here. All right, I'll keep reading. I'll keep reading. Ah, certainly. I see now. You are the favored Oh wait, no, I went in the wrong way. I went the wrong direction. Someone make her a snack? I am the snack. Ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba. Perhaps I can get a guide among your lads, and he might stay at the Grange till morning. Could you spare me one? No, I could not. Oh, indeed. Well, then, I must trust in my own sagacity. Are you going to make the tea? Demanded he of the shabby coat, shifting his ferocious gaze from me to the young lady. Is he to have any? She asked, appealing to Heathcliff. Get it ready, will you? Was the answer, uttered so savagely that I started. The tone in which the words were said revealed a genuine bad nature. I no longer felt inclined to call Heathcliff a capital fellow. When the preparations were finished, he invited me with, Now, sir, bring forward your chair. And we all, including the rustic youth, drew round the table, an austere silence prevailing while we discussed our meal. I thought, if I had caused the cloud, it was my duty to make an effort to dispel it. They could not every day sit so grim and taciturn. It was impossible, however ill-tempered they may be, however ill-tempered they might be, that the universal scowl they wore was their everyday countenance. It is strange, I began, in the interval of swallowing one cup of tea and receiving another. It is strange how custom can mold our tastes and ideas. Many could not imagine the existence of happiness in a life of such complete exile from the world as you spend, Mr. Heathcliff. Yet, I'll adventure to say that surrounded by your family, and with your amiable lady as the presiding genius over your home and heart. My amiable lady, he interrupted, with an almost diabolical sneer on his face. Where is she, my amiable lady? Mrs. Heathcliff, your wife, I mean. Well, yes. Oh, you would intimate that her spirit has taken the post of ministering angel, and guards the fortunes of Wuthering Heights. Even when her body is gone. Is that it? Perceiving myself in a blunder, I attempted to correct it. I might have seen there was too great a disparity between the ages of the parties to make it likely that they were man and wife. One was about 40, a period of mental vigor at which men seldom cherished the delusion of being married for love by girls. That dream is reserved for the solace of our declining years. The other did not look 17. Thank you, rooming motorcycle. Fish VTuber. You're back? You're back? Your name is really hard for me to read. But hello. Who is my sweetie pie? Who doth are my sweetie pie? Then it flashed upon me. The clown at my elbow, who is drinking his tea out of a basin. It is you. It is you. I just can't read your name. It's really hard for me to read your name. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. You guys... puzzle. You puzzle? You need puzzle? Question mark? Yes, you need puzzle. I'm so sorry. I thought I hit the button to give puzzle. Basement? Yes, the basement. Hehehe. Perceiving myself in a blunder, I attempted to correct it. I might have seen there was too great a disparity between the ages of the parties to make it likely that they were man and wife. One was about 40, a period of mental vigor at which men seldom cherished the delusion of being married for love by girls. That dream is reserved for the solace of our declining years. The other did not look 17. Then it flashed upon me. The clown at my elbow, who is drinking his tea out of a basin and eating his bread with unwashed hands, may be her husband. Heathcliff Jr., of course. Here's the consequence of being buried alive. She has thrown herself away. Here's the consequence of being alive. Nope. Here is the consequence of being buried alive. She has thrown herself away upon that bore from sheer ignorance that better individuals existed. A sad pity. I must beware how I cause her to regret her choice. The last reflection may seem conceited. It was not. My neighbor struck me as bordering on repulsive. I knew, through experience, that I was tolerably attractive. Mrs. Heathcliff is my daughter-in-law, said Heathcliff, corroborating my surmise. He turned, as he spoke, a peculiar look in her direction, a look of hatred, unless he has a most perverse sense of facial muscles that will not, like those of other people, interpret the language of his soul. Ah, certainly. I see now. Wrong voice. Ah, certainly. I see now. You are the favored possessor of the beneficent? Yeah? Ah, certainly. I see now. You are the favored possessor of the beneficent fairy, I remarked, turning to my neighbor. This was worse than before. The youth grew crimson and clenched his fist, with every appearance of a meditated... You know, there was one time that somebody asked if I would do purring ASMR. I can't keep it going, you know? I heard that. Calm down. Steph, you're funny. Thanks. You think I could be a comedian? Do you think the internet will love me and take all my insecurities away? I'd really like that. This was worse than before. The youth grew crimson and clenched his fist, with every appearance of a meditated assault, but he seemed to recollect himself presently, and smothered the storm in a brutal curse, muttered on my behalf, which, however, I took care not to notice. "Unhappy in your conjectures, sir," observed my host. "We neither of us have the privilege of owning your good fairy. Her mate is dead. I said she was my daughter-in-law, therefore she must have married my son." "And this young man is not my son, assuredly." Heathcliff smiled again, as if it were rather too bold a jest to attribute the paternity of that bear to him. "My name is Catherine Earnshaw," growled the other. "And I'd counsel you to respect it." "I've shown no disrespect," was my reply, laughing internally at the dignity with which he announced it himself. He fixed his eye on me longer than I cared to return the stare, for fear I might be tempted either to box his ears or render my hilarity audible. I began to feel unmistakably out of place in that pleasant family circle. The dismal spiritual wish-woo. Bubble. I began to feel unmistakably out of place in that pleasant family circle. The dismal spiritual atmosphere overcame, and more than neutralized, the glowing physical comforts round me, and I resolved to be cautious how I ventured under those rafters a third time. The business of eating concluded, and no one uttering a word of sociable conversation, I approached a window to examine the weather. A sorrowful sight I saw. Dark night coming down prematurely, and sky and hills mingled in one bitter whirl of wind and suffocating snow. "I don't think it possible for me to get home now without a guide," I could not help exclaiming. "The roads will be buried already, and if they were bare, I could scarcely distinguish a foot in advance." "Hareton, drive those dozen sheep into the barn porch. They'll be covered if left in the fold all night. And put a plank before them," said Heathcliff. "How must I do?" I continued, with rising irritation. There was no reply to my question, and on looking round, I saw only Joseph bringing in a pail of porridge for the dogs, and Mrs. Heathcliff leaning over the fire, diverting herself with burning a bundle of matches which had fallen from the chimney-piece as she restored the tea canister to its place. The former, when he had deposited his burden, took a critical survey of the room, and in cracked tones grated out, "Oh, wonder how oh, dear Jesus Christmas. Oh, wonder how ya can fashion to stand there idleness and war. When all 'em going out, but you're How dare they write this book like this? I wonder how I wonder how I wonder how ya can fashion to stare there in idleness and war. When all 'em's going out, but you're an out, and it's no use talking, you'll never mend your ill ways, but go all right to the devil, like your mother afore you. Like your mother afore you. I imagined for a moment that this piece of eloquence was addressed to me, and, sufficiently enraged, stepped towards the aged rascal with an intention of kicking him out the door. Mrs. Heathcliff, however, checked me by her answer. I'm sorry. That was so bad. You scandalous old hypocrite, she replied. Are you not afraid of being carried away bodily wherever... What the fuck do I sound like? I don't even know. You scandalous old hypocrite, she replied. Are you not afraid of being carried away bodily? Whenever you mention the old devil's name, I warn you to refrain from provoking me, or I'll ask your abduction as a special favor. Stop! Look here, Joseph. Stop! Look here, Joseph, she continued, taking a long, dark book from the shelf. I'll show you how far I've progressed in the black art. I shall soon be competent to make a clear house of it. The red cow didn't die by chance, and your rheumatism can hardly be reckoned among the... And your rheumatism can hardly be reckoned among providential... And your rheumatism can hardly be and your... I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Okay, we can do this. I imagined, for a moment, that this piece of eloquence was addressed to me, and, sufficiently enraged, stepped towards the aged rascal with an intention of kicking him out the door. Mrs. Heathcliff, however, checked me by her answer. "You scandalous old hypocrite," she replied. "Are you not afraid of being carried away bodily whenever you mention the devil's name? I warn you to refrain from provoking me, or I'll ask your abduction as a special favor. Stop. Look here, Joseph," she continued, taking a long dark book from a shelf. "I'll show you how far I've progressed in the black art. I shall soon be competent to make a clear house of it. The red cow didn't die by chance, and your rheumatism can hardly be reckoned among providential visitations."
"Oh, wicked, wicked!" gasped the elder. "May the Lord deliver us from evil."
"No
This is a word. Reprobate? 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 Reprobate. 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 Ow, my ears. Reprobate.
Hey, TikTok chat, are you still there? Are you still alive? Okay, just checking. Hi, Mike. Yes, I am okay. Thank you for the hydrate. I just needed to take a big deep breath. Don't worry, guys, we're only on page 16 out of 357. I'm getting a spam phone call. "No reprobate. You're a castaway. Be off, or I'll hurt you seriously." "No reprobate. You are a castaway. Be off, or I'll hurt you seriously. I'll have you all mottled in wax." How is this happening to me? How is this happening? "No reprobate. You are a castaway. Be off, or I'll hurt you seriously. I'll have you all mottled in wax and clay, and the first who passes the limits I shall fix. I'll not say what he shall be done to, but you'll see. Go, I'm looking at you." What the fuck was that sentence?
You heard that right? You heard that right?
God damn. No, you didn't. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Jap, have you seen that one clip? It's literally titled Organ ASMR. And I was reading Pride and Prejudice, I think. And while I was reading, my stomach had made some really loud noises. And so it's a similar situation to this, but in that case, I was just really hungry. And so I turned off the music. And so that people could hear the sound of my stomach. But right now, it's not doing it. But I swear, I'm not crazy. The little witch put a mocking malignity. The little witch put a mock malignity. The little witch put a mock malignity into her beautiful eyes and Joseph, trembling with sincere horror, hurried out, praying and ejaculating wicked as he went. I thought her conduct must be prompted by a species of dreary fun, but now that we were alone, I endeavored to interest her in my distress. "Mrs. Heathcliff," I said earnestly, "you must excuse me for troubling you. I presume because, with that face, I'm sure you cannot help being good-hearted. Do point out some landmarks by which I may know my way home. I have no more idea how to get there than you would have how to get to London." "Take the road you came. Take the road you came," she answered, ensconcing herself in a chair with a candle and the long book open before her. "It is brief advice, but as sound as I can give." "Then, if you hear of me being discovered dead in a bog or a pit full of snow, your conscience won't whisper that it is partly your fault?" "How so?" Scan through YouTube shorts? It would be the Twitch clips. Let me see if I can grab it. 'Cause that one... that one was a time. That one was a time. Let's see, let me grab this. Let me do that. Excuse me. Where's the link? Copy link. My stomach's doing it again. Paste. Pop. I have to put it in reveal capture page. Well, about that. Did it work? I hope it worked. Oh. How so? I cannot escort you. I cannot escort you. They wouldn't let me go to the end of the garden wall. You? I should be sorry to ask you to cross the threshold for my Take the road you came, she answered, ensconcing herself in a chair with a candle and the long book open before her. It is brief advice, but as sound as I can give. Then, if you hear of me being discovered dead in a bog or a pit full of snow, your conscience won't whisper that it is partly your fault. How so? I cannot escort you. They wouldn't let me go to the end of the garden wall. You? I should be sorry to ask you to cross the threshold for my convenience on such a night. On such a night, I cried. I want you to tell me my way, not show it, or else to persuade Mr. Heathcliff to give me a guide. Who? There is himself, Earnshaw, Zillah, Who? There is himself, Earnshaw, Zillah, Joseph, and I. Which would you have? Are there no boys at the farm? No, those are all. No, those are all. Then it follows that I am compelled to stay. That you may settle with your host. I have nothing to do with it. I hope it will be a lesson to you to make no more rash journeys on these... hills, cried Heathcliff's stern voice from the kitchen entrance. As to staying here, I don't keep accommodations for visitors. You must share a bed with Hareton or Joseph if you do.
I can sleep on a chair in this room, I replied. No. A stranger is a stranger, be he rich or poor. It will not suit me to permit any one of the range of the place. I'm a duck.
I don't think I can look at you the same way again now. But I can't do anything about it. I don't know why my body is built like this. But my body's built like this. It's just a special quirk. Inconvenient, but, a special quirk.
I hope it will be a lesson to you to make no more rash journeys on these hills, cried Heathcliff's stern voice from the kitchen entrance. As to staying here, I don't keep accommodations for visitors, so you must share a bed with Hareton or Joseph if you do. I can sleep on a chair in this room, I replied. No. A stranger is a stranger, be he rich or poor. It will not suit me to permit anyone the range of the place while I am off guard, said the unmannerly wretch. With this insult, my patience was at an end. I uttered an expression of disgust and pushed past him into the yard, running against Earnshaw in my haste. It was so dark that I could not see the means of an exit, and as I wandered round, I heard another specimen of their civil behavior amongst each other. At first, the young man appeared about to befriend me. I'll go with him as far as the park, he said. You'll go with him to hell, exclaimed his master, or whatever relation he bore. And who is to look after the horses, eh?
A man's life is of more consequence than one's evening neglect of the horses. Somebody must go, murmured Mrs. Heathcliff, more kindly than I expected.
Not at your command, retorted Hareton. Nope, wrong voice. Not at your command, retorted Hareton. If you set store on him, you'd better be quiet.
Then I hope his ghost will haunt you, and I hope Mr. Heathcliff will never get another tenant till the Grange is a ruin, she answered sharply.
Hearken, shoes cursing 'em. Hearken, shoes cursing on him, muttered Joseph, towards whom I had been steering. He sat within earshot, milking the cows by the light of a lantern, which I seized unceremoniously, and called out that I would send it back on the morrow, rushed to the nearest postern. Meister, he's stalling to lantern. He's stalling to lantern, shouted the ancient, pursuing my retreat. Hey, Nasha! Hey, dog! Hey, wolf! Hold him! On opening the door, 2 hairy monsters flew at my throat, bearing me down and extinguishing the light, while a mingled guffaw from Heathcliff and Hareton put the copestone on my rage and humiliation. Fortunately, the beasts seemed more bent on stretching their paws and yawning and flourishing their tails than devouring me alive. But they would suffer no resurrection, and I was forced to lie till their malignant masters pleased to deliver me. Then, hatless and trembling with wrath, I ordered the miscreants to let me out, on their peril to keep me 1 minute longer, with several incoherent threats of retaliation that, in their indefinite depth of virulency? I haven't seen this word before. I haven't seen this word before. Virulency. 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 I had such a good flow on that one too. With several incoherent threats of retaliation that, in their indefinite depth of virulency, smacked off King Lear. The vehemence of my agitation brought a copious bleeding at the nose, and still Heathcliff laughed, and still I scolded. I don't know what would have concluded the scene, had there not been one person at hand rather more rational than myself, and more benevolent than my entertainer. This was Zillah, the stout housewife, who at length issued forth to inquire into the nature of the uproar. She thought that some of them had been laying violent hands on me, and, not daring to attack her master, she turned her vocal artillery against the younger scoundrel. "Well, Mr. Earnshaw," she cried, "I wonder what you will have agate next? Are we going to murder folk on our very doorstones? I see this house will never do for me. Look at the poor lad. He's fair choking. Wisht. You mustn't go on so. Come in, and I'll cure that. There now. Hold you still. Come in, and I'll cure that. There now. Hold you still." With these words, she suddenly splashed a pint of icy water down my neck and pulled me into the kitchen. Mr. Heathcliff followed, his accidental merriment expiring quickly in his habitual moroseness. I was sick exceedingly and dizzy and faint, and thus compelled perforce to accept lodgings under his roof. He told Zillah to give me a glass of brandy, and then passed on to the inner room, while she condoled with me on my sorry predicament, and having obeyed his orders, whereby I was somewhat revived, while she condoled with me on my sorry predicament, and having obeyed his orders, whereby I was somewhat revived, ushered me to bed. Dear God, I am going to be a different person after I'm done reading this book. I tell you what, I am not going to be the same person when I'm done reading this book. We did it. We did it, chat. We survived. It was a difficult journey, but we did it. Someone play the Dora music. We did it. We did it. Yay! I'm gonna go to sleep now. Oh my Lord. That was an experience. That was something. Oh, it looks like TikTok stopped. Oh no, did TikTok chat go away? It looks like I had some issues with okay. Yeah, I see what happened. It looks like
there was an issue. I'm sorry, TikTok chat. I haven't been able to see any of your messages recently, but Kel, thank you so much for the gifts. I hope that you're doing well, and hello Voodoo Gaming, good to see you again. Death, this is not a new model, this is a customizable model. It is new, it is a customizable model, and I hope you like it. Refresh, show window. Okay, so I have to sign in again. Alright, so that I at least know now that I'm gonna have to take care of that. Okay. Well, I know that I can take care of that after stream is over, but no wonder things were not continuing to pop up in chat. We would have had more chat happening if, let's see, reveal, capture page, reload. Do we still have any watchers on YouTube? If one thing broke, I gotta double check that nothing else broke. Okay, so Dova2 was in there? Yeah, Dova was in there, but that was past tense. If anybody is curious as to the explanation of why I am trying to fix this, it is because I previously had a specific tool to bring all of the chats together, and I found that it wasn't entirely reliable. Turns out they have made... okay, so yes, YouTube does still work, we just don't have YouTube viewers. Thank you for double checking that. I cannot test that because I have the chat set up so that when I send messages or when the bots send messages, those do not get picked up. So that... it's supposed to be set up for that. As you can see, it's still broken. I digress. We are going to raid out. Ooh, this would be really cool. Okay. We are going to raid out to someone that we have gotten to see before. They do speak German, but they also speak English, and they are doing ASMR. Their streams do state that there is potentially, bad words, vulgar language. So if you don't like F-bombs, you can opt out of the raid. But this is the part where we say our good nights, our goodbyes, and our see you tomorrows. I will be back again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time Zone to continue reading Wuthering Heights. If you miss me until then, check out the YouTube channel where you can watch the edited videos of reading or ASMR, or the live tab where you can see my previous live streams going all the way back to my debut. So, if you are joining us for the raid, ! Raid, and copy the raid message, paste that where we are going, and please keep in mind that your actions represent this community, so please do behave. If you are watching on Twitch, we're raiding out. If you are not watching on Twitch, the stream is just going to end for you. So, please join the Discord server. You'll get notified whatever you choose to be notified for. So until next time, drink your water, eat your food, be kind to yourself and others, and have a good night. Jap, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Pearl Azul. Have a good night, my beautiful fishies. I will miss you until tomorrow.